Welcome again, friends, heathens, and haters. I just wanted to just quickly comment, and we want you to stay with me. Over the last 5.5 years or whatever it is since President Obama has been president, I haven't said anything because biblically, the Bible tells me that it is God who sets up and tears down leaders, and it is that same Bible that tells me to obey those who have rule over me. Now, with that said, I was certainly pleased that the country had gotten to a place where an African American was appointed to office. Let me not come off as if votes count or as if your vote counts, because I believe the last two people who lost the election won the popular vote. I believe it was, or won the popular vote. I think so. Anyway, so those votes don't count. But let me say this about this Ukrainian situation and what President Obama had the nerve to send his advisors or his ambassador to the UN and make the case that Russia, who's threatened military intervention in Ukraine, is somehow violating the sovereignty of Ukraine. I don't believe for 1 second that the Constitution of the United States was written with black people in mind. It couldn't have been, because one of its chief writers was Thomas Jefferson, who said, "We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal," while he himself owned a couple hundred slaves while he wrote those famous words, which we know to be the Constitution of the United States. As a matter of fact, when he was at a hall in Philadelphia, the name escapes me, Freedom Hall or something like that, in Philadelphia, while he was in there doing his thing with the others at that, I believe it's called a Constitutional Convention, he had a slave outside waiting to attend to his every need. So I don't at all believe that the U.S. Constitution was written with black people in mind. However, we do now enjoy many, well, I won't say all, many of its blessings. So let me be the first to say that, and I am a Marine Corps veteran, so certainly I understand what taking an oath to defend this country from all enemies, foreign and domestic, means. And we wanted to go here. President Obama have the nerve to tell Vladimir Putin to stand down and not violate the sovereignty of Ukraine, while he, not even a year ago, threatened to violate the sovereignty of Syria. This is the issue. The issue is the mess going on in Ukraine, and Ukraine was a former part of the USSR, which we know as the Soviet Union, and in the late 80s, early 90s, I think it was in 91 or something like that, it broke apart. The Soviet Union broke apart, and Ukraine, as well as other what are known as Eastern Bloc countries, gained their independence from the Soviet Union. Now there's a Russian Federation. We don't want to kind of get into all that kind of hair splitting. But if that foolishness spills over if that foolishness is not put down in Ukraine, it could spill over into not only Russian Federation member states, but it could also get into the heart of Russia itself. This is an issue of Russia looking out for their interests. Let me put it more, let me make it more plain to you. Let's just say there was just total rebellion. Hundreds of thousands of people were in Canada, just north of the U.S. border, and they're rioting and doing all of those things. And this foolishness threatens to spill over into the U.S. Do you think President Obama for 1 second wouldn't get involved with that militarily? I mean, come on. And all I wanted to say was I've been watching the president. I've kept my mouth shut on all my YouTube channels, but this Negro is the height of hypocrisy. And I'm going to say something also, is that a lot of people are coming down on Obama because he's so wicked, he's this, he's that. I'm going to tell y'all something. Obama is no more wicked than Bush. He's no more wicked than, or George W. Bush. He's no more wicked than Clinton. He's no more wicked than Reagan. He's no more wicked than the rest of them. The only issue is his issues are put kind of out front because he's just more bold with his wickedness. I mean, this man will tell a lie straight on national TV, and if anybody challenges him, he'll keep telling the same lie even when presented with evidence. I mean, his wickedness is just kind of out in the open, and Congress, it appears that they won't do anything to him. They try to get Bill Clinton for much less, but they won't do anything to him because they don't be called a racist, whatever. But Obama is a hypocrite. This dude is the hugest hypocrite I've ever seen in my 42 years of life. And not only that, Mr. Obama, let me ask you this, and CIA, NSA, whoever you are to see this video, pass this video on to that Negro. Mr. President, my question is this. Why shouldn't Russia violate the sovereignty of Ukraine if it's in their national interest when you were ready to strike Syria because it was in your natural interest, which is much less of a threat to this country than Ukraine, an unstable Ukraine is to Russia? Why didn't you violate the sovereignty of Libya when our ambassador was killed over there? No, you stood down. You had that whore, Hillary Clinton, who's a whore of the devil, stand down. You had her stand people down. Those people were under attack, and you didn't violate somebody's sovereignty when you needed to, but when your buddies in the military-industrial complex want to violate the sovereignty to make money of Syria, you do it. What about you violating the sovereignty of this country? Again, I don't for a minute believe that the Constitution was written with black people in mind. However, you took an oath, Mr. President, to uphold the constitutional principles. Now, me as a weapons owner, let me tell you something. I saw the end run around the middle you try to do to start seizing weapons. You violated the sovereignty of the Constitution of the United States. You violated the sovereignty, the economic sovereignty of the United States by bailing out your buddies with that $1.2 trillion. Those Wall Street goons, nobody got in trouble. You violated the sovereignty of the economic stability of millions of families in that country, and you tell Putin not to violate people's sovereignty? What about violating the sovereignty of the job market? Let me tell you something. If you were serious, you're always talking about good jobs. That was another one of the lies you wrote. And I'm not a fool. I know governments don't create jobs. Entrepreneurs create jobs. Government just creates favorable environments for entrepreneurs to create jobs. And why don't you repeal NAFTA? Why don't you repeal GATT? So my only point is, and I'll shut up, is that you need to shut your mouth, Negro, because you done lost your mind up there sweating, lying. You violated further the health care needs of this entire country with that disaster. I'm probably one of the few people that read whatever the bills that were put out and all of this other stuff. And we both know you and your administration had you didn't have any part of writing that foolishness. And I also found out, Mr. President, that you violated grants and contract laws by letting one of your wife's friends build a website that has massively failed, which is the healthcare website, and you had to rebuild it. So what about all the violations of personal and national sovereignty you've done? Negro, you done lost your mind, and you need to repent and accept the gospel.